the Millionaire Booklet, How to Get Super Rich by Grant Cardone, right? If you guys don't know who Grant Cardone is, he's a entrepreneur. He does like a ton of real estate, or has over $500 million in real estate properties, has multiple businesses like Cardone University, sells a whole bunch of courses, and also does like speeches for other businesses and stuff like that. And if you don't know who I am, I'm TommyBryson. And if you don't know me, you're gonna know me, right? Now, here's the big deal, right? This is a book review. Like all my book reviews, I'm gonna give you guys the main nuggets, the main factors of this book, and actually to give it to you guys before you actually go and read the book. And at the end of this entire review, I'm gonna tell you either if you're gonna buy it or if you want to skip it. So now let's get down to the main points that Grant Cardone does make in this book. By the way, this book is super short. I listened to the book while I was in the gym, right? It was like an hour and a half. I worked out and I finished reading the entire book, like literally in a workout. You know what I mean? But the first point that Grant Cardone makes in this book is all about listening to rich people and not poor people. And he kind of says like this entire thing where he's talking about like you want to surround yourself by rich people, and that doesn't mean kicking people out. And if you know me and you know the videos I make here, that's kind of like a little bit different from what I say, right? But he says you don't have to kick people out because those people are going to lose interest in you either way, right? Because you're going to become such a fighter, such a go-getter, that those people, since you're changing, they're not going to feel comfortable having you in their circle anymore, right? And he also says like you have to bring these people in and you got to learn from them and like listen to what they do and just like try to like imitate them in a sense, right? And the second point that Grant Cardone makes in this book, and this is a really good book, guys. This is like a really good book, and it's really short and condensed, right? The second point that he does make is you have to decide to become rich, and that means decide now to become rich. And he says this entire thing in the book, right? And it makes a lot of sense, you know. He says in society, we're all shunned when it comes to becoming rich. If you go to a person and you tell them, hey, I want to become rich, I want to do this, like people like look at you like in a way like, all right, that's cool, but that's not possible, right? And you kind of want to distance yourself from those people. And he uses this example, right? He says, you know, if you read this book, by the way, which I'm pretty sure if you're doing the book review, you're probably going to buy the book because I'm going to give this book a good rating, right? He says, go out there and tell a friend that you just bought this book, right? The Millionaire Booklet, How to Become Super Rich, right? And go out there and tell a friend you just bought it. Tell them you just bought this book. And if that friend tells you the only person that's going to get rich is the person that makes the book, that's kind of like a little sign that tells you like, hey, this might not be the person you want to be hanging around with. It's not good. It's not good energy coming out from this person. You know what I mean? Second thing is deciding that you want to be rich, right? And it's not just deciding that you want to be rich, but it's making the statement, I want to be rich, and also saying like, this is the reason I want to be rich. You know what I mean? Now, the third thing Grant Cardone does say in this book is the Millionaire Math, right? And you guys are probably like, what do you mean by Millionaire Math, right? Isn't math all the same or whatever? But he uses this incredible technique that I already knew because I got it from Tai Lopez. Tai Lopez is another great person that I like to follow, by the way. Here's the thing, right? He says Millionaire Math, right? You got to calculate like the amount of money that you want to get, right? Say, for example, you want to get $1 million. Like, figure out how to get that money. Figure out who has that money, and then figure out and make a plan on how to get that money from them, giving them value. So, take a breather. I know it doesn't make sense. I'm going to explain it right now. Now, what that means is, say, for example, you won $1 million. By the way, any person that wants to become a millionaire, in the future, there will be a millionaire. Everybody that works makes $50,000 a year. In 20 years, they're going to be a millionaire. The thing is, they won't have any money in their pockets saying that they earned that $1 million, right? But if you want to become a millionaire and you want to have $1 million, the way he does it is like, for example, he says, you want $1 million, you want to make $1 million, well, do the math, right? So if you want to make $1 million in 1 year, and let's be more realistic, right? Say you want to make $1 million in 5 years, right? And that's a lot of time for some people, right? But it's not a lot of time for a lot of people because a lot of people go their entire life without seeing $1 million together, right? So for example, let's pull out the calculator here. You want to make $1 million, right? In 5 years. Now we know that 12, which is the months in a year, times 5 is 60, right? So it's 60 months in 5 years, right? So if you divide the 60 months into the million, that's going to give you $16,066 that you have to make on a monthly basis. So in 5 years, this is consistently, you have to make $16,666 a month. You can make $1 million in that year, right? So here's what he does, right? To make it more realistic, to trick yourself into thinking that this is realistic, right? Which, because it is realistic. It's not that hard, to be honest. So now you take this amount and you divide it by 30, right? Because you know 1 month, right? 12 months in a year. Well, in 1 month, there's 30 days on average, right? Don't try to overthink things, right? So you divide that 16,066 by 30, which is daily. On a daily basis, you have to make $555, right? Seems more realistic, right? Seems more realistic, but if you're earning $20 an hour, working 8 hours a day, that's still nowhere near, right? Well, let's do it again, right? So now we got on a daily basis what it's going to be. Well, how about we calculate it on an hourly basis now, right? So we take the $555 and we divide it by 24, right? Because there's 24 hours in a day. Now you get $23 an hour. Now, it seems more realistic then, right? Because it's like, all right, I can make $23 an hour, but what this means is you work for 8 hours a day, you waste a whole other 16 hours, right? You either sleep or you eat and all this other stuff, but you're not making any money during that time, right? So this means that you have to make $23 an hour consistently while you sleep, while you're not sleeping, to be able to make $1 million. Now, how does this equate to anything, right? You have this information. What does this mean now? Now you have to figure out what value you have to give people. What value do you want to give people? Like, say, for example, you're a computer programmer. You're, like, super good at finance. You're good at accounting. Well, what product or what value can you sell people? And who are these people? That's why he always says, like, who has my money? Like, who are the people that you can provide this value to in exchange for their money, right? Because they already earned the money. Now you're going to give them value. So I'm going to help them out so you can get that money, extract it, right? And it's not that hard, right? So say, for example, you make a course, right? Or you make this entire product, and the product's like $50, right? Now, if you divide 16,000, because you got to make 16,000 a month to make $1 million in 5 years. If you divide that by $50, which is the product, which is the cost of the product, that means that you only got to sell 320 products a month, which means you only got to sell 10 products a day, which means you only gotta sell not even one product an hour. So it makes it like more possible. It makes it more achievable. So the entire thing to this is, right, you do the math, so it seems like it's possible for you to do it. Second, you figure out what value you can give people. Third, you figure out who those people are that are gonna buy your product. And fifth, you make a plan of execution, right? But everyone tries to go into the plan of execution without having like the plan, the math, and the people, and that's where people fail all the time. Now, I know that was thick, right? But that was my favorite part about the book. Now, the third thing Grant Cardone talks about is increasing your income so you can become wealthy. And he's a strong believer in saying that there's no rich person that has become rich without increasing their income. And that's not completely true. For example, right, 4 in 5 Americans that are millionaires, and by the way, I think it was like 500,000 people like last year became millionaires. Like 4 or 5 of those people actually have a job and work for other people, right? And not all of them have businesses. Now, what do I mean by this? This means that this is not in Grant Cardone's book, by the way. This is just me telling you this. So you don't take everything Grant Cardone says like as the road to life, right? There's a lot of methods to do different things, right? But if you live frugally, and that means below your means, if you're making $60,000 and you're saving 20 to 30, and you're investing that, and you're gaining like 8%, you're still gonna become a millionaire, and you still have money on the side, and you can still make like huge investments, right? But what Grant Cardone says is, like, if you increase your income levels, and he has an entire method of doing this, by the way, right? What he does is, for example, right, he has a job, right? He has a business. He has a job. For example, he was a car salesman when he first started, and then he started doing like the financing in the car salesman, right? So whatever business he starts, it correlates with that first business. So while this business is getting stronger, this business is also getting stronger. What that means is that you don't start a cookie shop and then you make like a swimming pool or something like that. Like, it doesn't make any sense, like a car wash or whatever, right? He's saying that the first business is the first income stream, right? And the second one have to be related, and so on and so on and so on. And that way everything adds up together. And that way you can keep increasing your income. And he also recommends that whatever income you're making from the other sources, use that income solely for investing, and then just use this one for living, in a sense, right? Because you never needed that money in the first place, and now you're making a ton of money. So don't increase your cost of living now, increase your investment portfolio. Now, the fourth thing Grant Cardone talks about is who has my money, and I already kind of explained to you that, like in the third step or something like that, like increasing your income or whatever. Like, you know, like who has my money, who are the people I'm going to sell that product to, and who are they? Like, what ethnicity are they? Like, where are they from? Where do they live? Why do they want the product? Are they accountants? Do they have jobs? Like, who is it, right? And he also says something that's included into this, right? He says, if you help 1 billion people, you're going to make more than $1 billion. But always have in mind that the people that need the most help usually don't have a lot of money. So you got to do all the work. You got to put all the money behind this product so you can sell it and market it to them, because they're not going to have all the money in the world because they're trying to get to the same level that you're trying to get to. So you got to build a product, invest the money into this product, good product, and then you sell it to them at half the cost that it did cost you, but you're going to make a ton of money because you're selling it volume, right? Now, the fifth thing, I think we're at the sixth, I don't know, I lost track. Now, the fifth thing that Grant Cardone talks in this book is something that I've been applying to my life for a long time before I even read this book, is staying broke. And what does that mean? When you stay broke, he's talking about, like, for example, if you have $1 million and you have it sitting in the bank, you're not doing something right? Because you just have money in the side. Like, it's just wasting money. It's just losing value every single time, because with inflation you lose 2%. So that $1 million is not gonna be worth the same amount of money at the end of the year. So what he's saying is, every single year he goes broke. Every single year, he grabs all the cash that he has and he invests it on a property. He invested it on whatever he wants, right? And then that is gonna become like a new income stream for him. Like for example, I think he bought like a 40-unit apartment building when he first started off, and then that sent him broke or whatever. But that produced like $100,000 in income, like liquid cash flow a year, and then he sold it for like $5.5 million, and then he only did like $300,000 in the down payment. Like wow. Like even saying that surprises me, right? But the point is, always be consistent and invest in your money. And one thing I'm going to tell you, right? Because a lot of people read books and they take everything as it is, right? Like as the person says it. Don't do that. Like for example, I have like an entire investment account solely for investing. And then I have an entire account solely for my emergencies. And the thing is, like, I'm balancing everything out because I know that, well, what if I invest all my money and then all of a sudden I have an emergency and then I have to liquidate some of those investments, and then it's going to cost me a loss in the long term because I didn't have money set aside for like an emergency, you know? So you want to be balanced and everything like that. And if you don't know how to make a budget, I have a video on the channel. It's going to teach you that. So go check that video out. And if you're liking this video so far, make sure to subscribe and leave a thumbs up and leave a comment down below. I want to keep doing these videos, so keep supporting. Now, the last thing he talks about, and I kind of give you all this knowledge already, but I'm just trying to make it like as he said in the book, like he talks about multiple flows of income, right? And Grant Cardone, like from what I'm getting from him, like he hates the stock market because he feels as if I'm putting money in the stock market, then I'm giving my money to other people, and those people aren't as competent as I am in a sense, right? Because it's just like, you know, like, oh, like the economy only says, those people only say like, oh, give your money to smarter people so they can handle it because you're not competent enough to handle it. And in a sense, that's true, you know, but in a sense, it isn't fully true. This is why I say don't take everything that you read in the book as it is, you know, because Grant Cardone is a completely different level and you're not at that level yet. And this is what I recommend, right? Like summing up the knowledge I got from this book and summing up the knowledge I already have here. This is what I recommend, right? If you're working a job and you're like a super average person, like say for example, you work like 40 hours a week and you work 8 hours a day, you're making like $15, maybe 20, 25, 50. I know a lot of people that make $50 and is still broke, you know what I mean? So it all depends on your living costs, right? If you're making like $15, 8 hours a week or whatever, and you want to start investing, start budgeting your money in different ways. Like for example, set aside like 20% of all the money that you make and just do it for investing and invest that money. And if you don't know how to invest at first, if you're setting aside 20%, do 10% and invest it into index funds. If you don't know what that is, I'm going to make a video about that really soon, so subscribe. And do the other 10% and invest it into businesses that you're capable and competent of investing in. Like, know what you're going into. Don't trust everybody blindly, because even Grant Cardone says, like, don't trust anybody blindly, but give me your money for this. You know what I mean? This is what I mean when I say take everything with a grain of salt. So that's everything I got from the book, right? Those are the main parts, the main ideas and everything like that Grant Cardone tried to express out. I just gave it to you. Now, here's a big question, right? Do I buy the book or do I skip on it, right? I recommend you buy the book. Obviously, it's a really good book. And guys, if you like this video and you want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment. And let me know down in the comments down below, like, do you think Grant Cardone is all about what he says? Do you think it's possible for you to become financially free? Do you believe that you can become financially free? And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
You've got to start